Hey there, everybody. Lauren Johnston here, and I'm here today with my good friend, Chrissy Powell. Chrissy is also a resonance repatterning practitioner, along with myself. And we wanted to talk a little bit today between the two of us, because I feel like having a conversation explaining resonance repatterning is a lot easier than just talking about it on your own. So I'm really excited about you guys joining us and checking out what resonance repatterning is. Chrissy, it's so great to be hanging out with you today.
I'm so glad that you're doing this because it's so hard to explain resonance repatterning. The best way that I can explain it is what we resonate with is what comes up in our lives. So it's like it doesn't matter if it's true or not. Mm-hmm. But if we're resonating with it, then it's like a filter for everything that we either draw in from like universal laws of nature or that we create ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, to me, it's like if you resonate with something, it doesn't matter if it's true or not, like you said, in reality. It doesn't matter if it's reality, but it's true to us. And what's true to us is what we resonate with. So for me, one of my core limiting beliefs for a long time is I'm not capable. And no matter how good I did things or how well I did things, I still had that sort of subconscious resonance with I'm not capable. And I would make things harder than they were because of that belief. Yeah. And so we can change what we resonate with. We can't change reality. We can't change other people. But we can change our resonance, our reality within ourselves and in our mind. And we do that subconsciously and consciously, right?
And what's amazing is I've seen people after they have sessions, like it's usually, in my experience, like a month later, someone will be in a situation and they'll say, oh my God, I ran into a doctor and he totally offered this and said, have you tried this? And then so something will totally change
in their environment.
And it's related because their resonance changed with that problem. So that whatever was around them was coming to them to help like the solution.
Right.
So the solution kind of just unfolds in front of you.
Yeah. And I know for me, like when I shift my energy around, my perspective about something, I know that like I will notice things in my environment. And actually the environment sometimes hasn't even changed, but it seems like it has changed. And I notice too that when I'm really coherent, because that's the two words that we use a lot in our work is coherent and non-coherent. Coherent being positive, non-coherent being negative. And if I'm coherent, I'm usually happy. I, usually am just sort of content in my life. Not sort of, I am content in my life. And my partner jokes with me all the time that I have the best parking karma on the planet.
Oh, yeah.
And I know it's because usually when I get in my car, I'm pretty coherent because I like to set the intention of driving safely. So I'm already in my body when I get in the car. And we call it Doris Day parking. Because in all of Doris Day's movies back in the old day, she always got front row parking like in front of Macy's in New York City or something like that. But we do draw in better things when we are a lot more coherent.
The other thing you're reminding me of is how unconscious patterns, beliefs, and ideas or fears or negative, anything negative that we don't want is usually at the unconscious level. So say, for example, and I love therapy, I love psychotherapy, I use it, but there's only a point to where you can go with that because you're talking about what you already know.
Right, on the conscious level.
On the conscious level.
And we work with clearing the subconscious level.
Yeah. And so patterns will show up, and that's usually a clue for us in the present moment, like the present day, what's going on, what troubles are happening, or what problems are going on in my life. And if it seems to happen repetitively, that's a pattern.
Yes.
And then what happens is we go in and we start that session with the problem, and sure enough, it pulls up the unconscious stuff.
It does pull up the subconscious or unconscious stuff. And then it's that aha moment, like, oh, wow, like we just traded a little bit ago. And in both of our sessions, it was like, it was an epiphany because we just didn't realize it on the conscious or intellectual level. So why don't we talk a little bit about how we shift that energy, how we shift those beliefs or those patterns. First off, we identify them in a session and we say statements out loud. And like if there's a problem, you can think about the problem or say the problem out loud. A lot of times in my group work, I'll have them just think of it in their mind. And then I muscle check to see if the group resonates with their individual, issue. But in one-on-one sessions, we do have the person, because it's a private session. In group work, I don't like doing that because I want people to have their privacy of their issues or whatever. And then there will be statements that are coherent or positive that we want to anchor or introduce to the mind-body system to replace the negative that we're clearing the frequency and the resonance with that. Once we do all the statements and identify those, then we use modalities. And so we use color,
light, sound, movement, breath,
essential oils. A lot of times we will do acupuncture points, but using tuning forks on a diagram because we're shifting the energy, not shifting the physical body. And everything has energy. Our thoughts have an energy to them, our beliefs, our feelings. And once we shift those, then people can see a profound difference.
I've been thinking a lot about that statement that everything has a frequency. It has its own frequency. A rock has a frequency.
It's true.
And, music has really powerful frequencies. And so when we're here and we're resonating at this frequency, it's calling in other things that are at that same frequency. So we spiral up to this higher frequency, and then it calls in the new things because we're vibrating at a certain frequency.
And when we introduce a color that the client needs, or a sound, or even using the essential oils, that is such a high vibrational frequency, and our natural tendency is to want to go meet that. So if we're in a non-coherent place, real negative, and we introduce, a color frequency, a light frequency, a smell frequency, a sound frequency, our system wants to meet that and match it. And the minute that we become coherent is the minute that the problem just doesn't seem to be as big anymore. So I'll notice the client, or even in the group, I'll talk to people and say, so how does your problem feel to you? How does it sound to you? What does it look like, to you now after we've done the modality for, changing the frequency? And they will always be like, it just doesn't seem to be that big of a deal. It's kind of like today when we were working with my intention for a new possibility. It was so strong for me the second time around when I said the intention. I was like, I really feel like that's possible.
It's stuck.
Yeah, it's possible.
It went into you at a cellular level or something.
And the first time I said my intention, it was like, no, this is not.
I'm saying the words, but
So we'll demonstrate when we're in person. We do actually muscle check on the client's arm. When you're on for something, meaning it's true to you, it will contract, the muscle will contract. And when it's not, then the muscle will relax. So the way we do it when we're with people, because I do phone sessions and video sessions, and so does Chrissy. And so we don't do it on the client, but we just, for the heck, we're gonna show it. So what happens is Chrissy's gonna give me an on response, which she's just gonna meet my touch. And that means the muscle, I can feel her muscle actually contract. And then I'm going to have her give me an off response, which she's going to relax her arm. Her arm will move a little bit, but the interesting part is her muscle did not budge. Her muscle relaxed. So her on and then her off. Okay. And it's a neat tool to use because we can really get into the subconscious stuff, you know. I also like to use hypnosis a lot of times with the repatterning technique, because the hypnosis really goes and talks to the subconscious mind. The beliefs, the feelings, the experiences are all just in the subconscious mind. It's there. And the reason why that happens is because the subconscious mind wants to protect the conscious mind. So it says things like, hey, you're not capable, because it's protecting me from trying something and failing at it.
Yes.
Even though that doesn't really work. But that's how it does, happen. And we had to go in the subconscious level in order to convince it, hey, you are capable. You are capable. And then that subconscious trains and aligns the conscious mind with, I am capable.
Yeah, and it's reminding me of, in the training that we received, hearing over and over how the subconscious and the unconscious mind it's like binary, on, off, especially the unconscious mind. And so that's why when we do the applied kinesiology, the muscle checking, it's like working with a computer. Like computers are on, that's how they're programmed. And so sometimes we work with language a lot in order to get exactly what that programming is. Because the programming is like, and I like to say, the way I understand it is like the marching orders. Like that's the marching orders for what I'm going to do in my life, or how I'm going to feel when I go into a meeting, or if I have a date, or if I'm going to go talk to a family member that I'm nervous about. It's like my programming is already decided how I'm supposed to be in that moment, how I'm supposed to feel in that moment. Is it a threat? Is it not a threat? On, off.
Right.
That's so we work on that programming so that we can get us resonating with what we want and not resonating with what we don't want.
That's exactly right.
The best thing I can think of to say to people before they haven't tried it is that to me, when I receive a session, it's a gift to myself, because the client's system, mind-body system, and soul is really directing the session. And us as practitioners, we honor the client's system. And that's what we
support
do.
It.
Yes.
And we facilitate, but they're doing the work. Their body, mind, soul is actually doing the work. And we're just like, playing a part in their in their healing. But they're the ones who, and I see that all the time with my clients. It's like, wow, it's amazing how they can get into their own stuff and really, and it's nice because then a lot of times they get the epiphany, on their own when they're doing their own work.
And that's what I love about receiving a session from you, because it feels like we're co-creating. It feels like you have all of this knowledge, and only what's needed for that session comes up because you're reading what my system knows it needs, because our systems are self-healing on their own.
Yeah. And it's very cool.
So that's why I like people to try to remember that they really have more safety and control than they realize, even though it's coming from a kind of invisible place.
And that's true with the hypnosis as well, is that, all hypnosis really is about taking direction of my voice. And, you have to have that rapport. Yeah. And that's one of the things that both Chrissy and I think we're pretty personable people. We kind of can connect pretty easily to pretty much everybody, I guess. I mean, that doesn't mean that, every person's going to want to do the work with me. Some people might want to do the work with you. I mean, everybody has their own connection stuff. But it is a very powerful modality, and I'm really grateful that I've gotten the opportunity to learn how to do it. Yeah, I think, and if there's any questions, feel free to email me or Chrissy. But yeah, we're really wanting to get this out and share it to everybody, because I think it is one of the easiest, fastest way to create the life that you want and live the highest version of yourself, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Chrissy.
Thank you too.